Hello guys, my name is Anna and I'm a Ukrainian, and I have decided I will vlog daily from my country Ukraine since the start of this awful war with Russia. And in my daily videos I try to update you on the important real life situations in my country Ukraine, and of course I'm always glad to answer your questions and to clarify some facts from our history or culture or background or whatever interests you. And today I have read a lot of news that were addressed at Russians traveling all over the world. And politicians in Estonia, President Zelensky spoke about the limits that Russians must feel when traveling abroad, because it's pretty logical. They are responsible for the presidency of Putin because for 22 years they do not object him being their leader. And I do agree with Winston Churchill, who once said that if a country is run by a dictator, it is not only the dictator to blame. And also taking into account that Russia regime and Russians who support this regime threaten the world every day by various, awful things, starting from nuclear bombs or destroying Zaporizhia nuclear power station, or other things, occupying Lithuania, for example, or Poland, or taking back Alaska, saying all of that, being responsible politicians, being official representatives of your country, people have to be responsible. So of course I'm not for fighting or something, but these limits, they have to be felt, because daily thousands of people die, daily cities are destroyed, destinies are destroyed, people lose the ability to study, people lose the ability to get medical help because of Russian invasion. People in Europe have to pay higher prices for gas, petrol, have to accept refugees who have to leave the devastated regions of Ukraine. So for me, it is a totally normal thing that Russians are also responsible and they must feel it. And today I want to speak about Russian tourists. I have already mentioned this topic, this concept, this idea in one of my previous videos, but I think it deserves a separate vlog. And to start it all, I would like to say that this is the subject that I am more or less aware of, because I have traveled to different countries of the world. I have been close to Russian tourists. And one more very serious problem for Ukrainian tourists is that we work really hard not to be confused with Russians. After the start of this war, due to these tragic events, many people have learned to differentiate between Ukraine and Russia. But you will agree with me that maybe like 5-10 years ago, for many of Europeans, for many of North Americans and Asians, Russia, Ukraine, Moldova, Belarus were same countries. It is not so, and if there are some of you who believe there is no great difference between our countries, well, you have to feel it right now. There are lots of illustrations in attitudes, in morality, in mentality, in, family relations, military attitudes, level of bravery, and everything else. So for me, it was always very personal not to be confused with a Russian. Luckily, I know English, so whenever I was abroad, I would always use an English-speaking guide, an English-speaking instructor. I will always speak English at the shop, at the restaurant. But very often when they see what hotel you come from or something, they start addressing you as a Russian. So for me, it was always an offense. And not just because I'm a Nazi, because there are no Nazis in Ukraine, apart from Russian soldiers who are here. And but because of all these years of oppression, colonization, hundreds of years of fight, total chauvinism and disrespect that Russians demonstrate to Ukrainians, and the way they behave abroad was the reason why I did not want to be associated with Russian. So definitely among the Russian tourists, there are favorite countries where they travel, and many of these countries, they are similar to those that are popular among Ukrainians. So of course now I'm sure not that many Ukrainians travel, not that many Russians have the opportunity to travel, but there were lots of conflicts when Ukrainian and Russians were placed in similar hotels. And also I know that there are lots of hotels that write Russian free. And many Ukrainians who book a room or something, they ask if it's a Russian free hotel. So what are the reasons behind this fact that Russian tourists are so different from other tourists and they have already become a household name, or what would I say it here, like an idiomatic expression or something, because that demonstrates their behavior will demonstrate a lot. Well, first of all, Turkey, Egypt, maybe Sri Lanka, are among the United Arab Emirates are among the most popular resorts that Russians choose, but they are also popular in Ukraine. And well, a typical Russian tourist, from my personal observations, will definitely tries to use everything that hotel offers, even if it is something they don't need. They will definitely try to get everything that they want. Perhaps many of the service providers like them because they will try every excursion, they will try every, I don't know, entertainment offered, but they will be very loud, very active, and very critical in all of that. Also, yeah, they are very loud, they use lots of bad words, and they always speak Russian. This is very typical for Russians, to address everyone in Russian and to believe that people in France, in Italy, in Bangladesh, in China, they have to speak and understand Russian. And if you don't, they get angry with you because, like, why don't you speak Russian? Also, they like changing rooms, and they can change room for many times and without any particular explanations, and like changing them to get a better view or something with, but maybe it's not the greatest problem, but somehow I want to say that they overuse the services that the hotel offers them, because many of them do not earn enough, and when they get in normal conditions, like every year or every 2 years, they try to use it to the fullest and like to try all the free services and to make other people work for them a lot, like administrators, waiters. They like to overuse the services, so the things that you don't need, you still use it because it's for free or something like that. It makes you feel cooler. Also, another very serious characteristic feature of Russian tourists is that they steal. They steal a lot from hotels, and there are lots of jokes, and even in their films and everywhere, when they show how many souvenirs they bring from hotels. And these are not like t-shirts with Turkey, but towels with the name of the hotel. And they can steal things they don't need at all. I don't know, like spades that you use when you put on your shoes, how do you call it? Totally irrelevant things. For example, a pen or like a folder, and you don't need these things normally. Like, you can buy them, you can afford them, you don't need to pack them and take them with you on a plane, but they have this hunting urge, and I cannot explain it why. There are lots of jokes even in their films when they demonstrate that, like, what can you take out of the hotel, starting from bathing robes and finishing with light bulbs. And this stealing practice also spreads to food. And we know that lots of like hotels that are oriented on tourists, they provide all-inclusive, and like you can eat a lot of things. And very often these cafes and restaurants, they are open all day round, maybe like 1 hour that they are closed just to clean everything, and you can eat a lot. They eat a lot, but they also try to take something like fruit, like yogurts, like jams and chocolates, you know, that packed individuals. They are very popular also souvenirs that Russian tourists bring back home from abroad. And I have seen lots of situations when they try to take away things, and then they are stopped by waiters who have to take away food from this Swedish tables, or how do you call them? And there are always quarrels because they say it's all inclusive. They say it's all inclusive by here in a restaurant. And also they have this habit, if not stealing, they try to take very much food, more than they ever need, more than they can ever eat. And if you see people carrying that many plates, these are definitely Russians, but I have to confess, these may also be Ukrainians. Because Ukrainians eat a lot and they like trying things, and then they try a bit of that and a bit of that. So food is an entertainment in Ukraine, and it might be always also Ukrainians. But Ukrainians never drink that much as Russians do in the hotels, and especially if it's a free alcohol. So they won't then use excursions, other services, they won't swim. They will sunbathe, but just like one side where they have fallen asleep, and that will be the red side of their body. And they drink really a lot. They don't have priorities, like for example, I like beer or like wine, or I like whiskey cola. They will drink beer, wine, whiskey cola. Often they don't like local wines and vodkas, but they will drink lots of them. And this super consumption is something very serious. I think annually a couple of Russians drown because of they overeat and then go to refresh themselves or something. Also, they are very loud close to swimming pools and elsewhere. And I remember like my experience being in Turkey, and they were jumping in the swimming pool and everyone was covered with water. And then they noticed me and they started thinking that I'm also Russian, because like, you're pretty, you have to be Russian. And I felt so like ashamed. I had to escape the territory. And also what I noticed, they also often look for mayonnaise. I don't like mayonnaise, but this is a very popular sauce. And like many Russians don't eat anything without mayonnaise, and you can hear them having scandals in a restaurant that has like, let's say 500 various positions of food, but they cannot find mayonnaise. And also they create lots of, this is not funny anymore, because they also often create lots of risky situations, conflict situations, starting from various fights and finishing with murders. I have read about a couple of murders that like Russians committed in the hotels because of various infidelity causes and other things. Oh yeah, I have to mention that like I don't like this kind of comments below my video, but sex tourism is also popular, but in this case it's very in a reverse kind of thing, gender equality, when Russian women travel to Egypt and Turkey for fun. And they create very negative impression of Russian and sometimes Slavic women among the Turkish and other nationalities, but that's their reality. And many of them managed like to cheat on their husbands while drunk husbands are sleeping in the rooms. Women are traveling and enjoying their life, so this is also a problem. But they can jump, they can get drowned, they can use parachutes when they are not ready for that. Lots of things, they risk their lives, and perhaps this is because life in Russia is so harsh and they don't travel that much, and they live in that gloomy society in darkness and snow, and with Putin always with them. So maybe that's why they risk their lives when they get out in the sun. And of course, I have to say it, not all Russians are like that, and maybe there are some small percentage of good Russians that protest against Putin, but typically they escape Russia, they come to live in different countries, and they stop acting like a typical Russian tourist, so you won't be able to recognize one. And also that dress codes are weird, and they like walking like topless everywhere in the restaurants, and I hate it because like many, I don't mean women but men, but it doesn't always look really good. So they don't care about that because they are resting. That's the way they see the idea of rest. Anyway, personally, when I travel, try to avoid the hotels or to resort cities that are very popular among Russians, because, well, now it's understandable, but like 5-7 years ago, it was also understandable for me, because I don't like the culture of their rest. I have a totally different vision of how people have to rest and act in this situation. Anyway, please forgive me if I've been too bad, but remember, we have war in Ukraine, and this war was caused by Russia. Russian culture and Russian people who support Putin. If you like my videos, please subscribe. The larger my channel will be, the more people will be able to know about the situation in Ukraine, and I believe it's very important as this war continues, and your support and your attention is extremely valuable for us. We have to stop Putin, his regime here in Ukraine, and not to let it spread all over the planet. Thank you for buying me coffees, and thank you for becoming my patrons. That inspires and means a lot to me. Slava Ukraini!